that we are going to understand some more concepts behind every questions. So I hope everybody is just maintaining the notes as well, because now your exam is very nearby, and maintaining the notes and just understand whatever I have taught in all my lectures, or say in my all my previous lectures. So just watch every sessions I have already taken, and presenting just taking all the lectures also. Okay, so let's start the session. So this is the first question, and in this question, like opening stock is given, closing stock is given, net purchases are given, gross profit are given, and we have to calculate the sales of the company. Okay, so like I always explain how we can solve these kind of the questions. So whenever some formulas I already taught in my lectures, like cost of goods sold formula, and these kind of the questions you will get in the exam very frequently, like sales of the company, net profit, gross profit. Okay, so the idea is you only have to command all the questions over all the questions by solving these kind of the questions. Okay, so if we have to just calculate the sales of the company here, so we know that the sales, we know the very minute difference between the sales and cost of goods sold, and that difference is known as a gross profit. Okay, that difference is known as a gross profit. So we know that, and we also know that the gross profit is given. The only thing we have to calculate, that is cost of goods sold. Fine. I just want that first you should just practice that, or first you should just try the question here. After that, I will explain this. So how we can just calculate the cost of goods sold? Like I always say, suppose that is cost of goods sold, we calculate by the, we know that there is a opening stock. So we write here opening stock plus net purchase. Okay, what we understand by the net purchase? Suppose some purchases we had done, but for some, like some stocks we just do not like, or for say some inventories we do not like, so that's why we just return that. So purchases minus purchase return, that is known as a net purchase. Okay, so just suppose that in the question purchases are given, and in the question as well the purchase returns are given. So what we have to do in simple terms, that we have to calculate the net purchase, and net purchase by we can calculate by subtracting the purchase return from the purchase. Okay, so that's how we can just calculate here, that is net purchase. Fine. So this is known as a net purchase. Same way, if the term you will get in the exam like net sale, so net sale, that would be equal to your sale minus sales return. Okay, so that is known as a net sale. Okay, so you do not need to worry about the lengthiest term in the exam. You only have to focus on the concept whatever I taught you. Okay, so here that we have to calculate the cost of goods sold for writing the quantity, or say writing the amount in this formula. So we know that opening stock plus net purchases plus direct expenses minus closing stock. So one thing we also know that here direct expenses are not given in the question, so we can just skip this. Okay, so we only write that is opening stock, which is given 22,000. So just write here plus net purchase, that is given 1,10,000. So just write here that is 1,10,000. Expenses are not given, so just skip that. And closing stocks are given 25,000. So just write here 25,000 rupees. Okay, now you have to solve this. So this quantity will be like minus 3,000. So that will be equal to 1,07,000 rupees, isn't it? That means that means cost of goods sold, that will be equal to 1,07,000 rupees. Okay, so now we have to calculate the sales. So how we can just calculate the sale? Because we know that the gross profit, that is given 26,750, and that will be equal to the sales, which is also sales we have to calculate. So just write here sales and minus cost of goods sold that we calculated, that will be 1,07,000 rupees. So now the thing that you have to calculate sales, so just calculate this by 1,07,000 plus 26,750. So what will be the answer here? The answer that will be 1,33,750, isn't it? So that would be your answer. So the answer that here we can calculate 1,33,750 rupees. Okay. So the two formulas you understand here, that is or say three concepts you understand here. First concept, that is the formula of the gross profit, how you can calculate, that is sales minus cost of goods sold. Second thing you understand here, that is what we understand by the net purchase, net sale. So that basically known as a, suppose that you purchase some 100 quantity, and from that 100 quantity you just return 50 quantity. So the net purchase that denotes of the 50 quantity, that is 100 minus 50. Okay, so that is known as a net purchase. So same way you can understand the net sale, that is sales minus the sales return. Okay, so after that we just calculate the cost of goods sold and put the value in the given formula. Okay, so that's how we solve these kind of the questions. I hope this question is now clear for everyone. Another question that is the amount of the capital that is mentioned in capital clause is known as. Okay, so just tell me the answer of this. After that I will explain this. The question is in capital clause and of the memorandum of the association. So the amount of the capital that is mentioned in the capital clause is known as. So what amount of the capital that is authorized, registered or nominal? So look, the thing to understand, that is nominal, authorized or registered. Fine. So nominal, authorized or registered capital means the sum mentioned in the capital clause of the memorandum of the association. So these all are just the nominal, authorized or registered capital. These three all are the same way, or say these all are mentioned in the capital clause. So it is the, what it means, that it is a maximum amount. It is the maximum amount that company relates, or say that company raises by issuing the shares, and on which the registration fees is paid. Okay, so that will be the maximum amount that company raises by the issuing of the shares. So the answer that would be the all of these, that is authorized, registered or the nominal account, also in nominal capital. So authorized capital, registered capital, nominal capital, that is mentioned in the capital clause. Okay, I hope it is understandable. Now the next question, that is suppose that 1500 rupees that is withdrawn for personal use, and it should be debited to which account? you know we know that suppose that I am the owner of my company, and this is my company, and I am the owner of my company. But due to entity concept, I and my company both are different entity. Okay, due to entity concept, that is me and my company both are different entity. So whenever I just suppose that I started my company with a 1 lakh rupees, and I started my company with a 1 lakh rupees, and that would be the capital for my company. Meanwhile, this is cash for my company, isn't it? Okay, now, so this is cash for me, or say this would be considered as an asset, and this would be considered as a capital for my company. So suppose that I withdrew 1500 rupees for my personal use. So whenever any owner of its company withdrew the withdrew the amount, or say withdrew the rupees for his personal use, so the account that should be debited, that is known as a drawing account. Okay, you always have to remember that whenever the owner that withdrawn any amount for the personal use from the company, okay, so that will be just debited to the drawing account. That should be debited to the drawing account. Okay, so drawing also may be defined as the amounts, or it may be defined as the goods, or say amount that is withdrawn by the proprietor for personal use. Since drawings are deduction from the capital, they have a debit balance. Because whenever I started, or say whenever any person just started a company, and both are different entity from the both are different entity, like he's the owner and he's a comp and it and the its company, both are different. So if he withdraw any amount, or say if he withdraw any goods for his personal account, that means there has been a deduction from the capital. Okay, that means there will be a deduction from capital, and that deduction will be represented, or say that that deduction that have a debit balance. So the account that should be debited, that is known as a drawing account. So drawing account should be debited in this case of the condition. Okay, I hope it is clear now. Next question. Next question, that is favorable balance as per the cash book is given, and debit side of the cash book. Whenever the like I always explain you how you can solve the bank reconciliation statement questions, and you will just find the 5 to 6 marks straight way questions in the exam. That's why I am just more focusing on the bank reconciliation statement, because you can just get the minimum 10 marks from the bank reconciliation statement, because you will get the some theoretical questions as well as some questions from the 1 marks, as well as you will get the some question of the 2 marks, because it is very favorite chapter from examiner point of view. So because in this chapter you have to understand about the how any persons make the cash book entry, or say how a bank maintain the entry, and what kind of the mismatch can be happen. That's why it is a very important chapter from the exam point of view. So whenever any balance given, like if it is given cash book balance, so we always, if the cash book balance is given, that means we have to find out the passbook balance. Okay, so the first step I always explain, that you have to just write here passbook, and after that the second step, that is cash book and the passbook here. Okay, and the third step, that if it is written here passbook, so you have to just encircle here, and you have to just encircle here the same thing that is written here, you have to encircle here. Suppose that here it is given a passbook, so you have to write here cash book, and same the cash book you have to encircle here. Okay, so in this case, like passbook is given, like you have to find out the passbook balance. So we just encircle here and encircle this. Okay, so now, like favorable balance as per the cash book given, that is 5,000 rupees. So just write here 5,000 rupees. Okay, there is nothing mentioned about this is credit or overdraft, so that's why we are not just mentioning any kind of the sign here. If it is mentioned like credit or overdraft, then we will write this amount will be the this amount with the negative sign. Okay, but here it is nothing mentioned, so we will write the same way, that is 5,000, and we will understand like it is a debit balance as per the cash book. Okay, so just write here 5,000 rupees. After that, one by one we just understand every conditions whatever here given. Okay, so the first condition, that is given debit side of the cash book undercast by the 2,000 rupees. Whenever we find the term that is undercast means whenever you just made undercast, that means you have to write 100, or say you have to write 4,000, but instead of writing 4,000 you just write 2,000. That is known as undercast. That means whenever you just put the amount, whenever you just record the transaction below the realized value, then it is known as a undercast. Suppose that the example, that is you have to write 4,000, but instead of writing 4,000 you undercast it by 2,000. That is known as you just record the transaction below the realized value. Okay, so the value that should be 4,000, but you just write 2,000, so that would be understand as a undercast. Okay, this is just an example. Okay, so if the question is if it is undercast by 2,000 rupees, so that means you just undercast by 2,000, so just write in the simple way like minus 2,000 here. But in the passbook statement, because you undercast by 2,000 rupees, and that is known as a mistake done by your side. Okay, but not from the bank side, so that's why it is 0 in the bank statement. That means in the bank statement that is reflecting a correct amount. Okay, but by mistake you just undercast the amount. That means this would be considered as a minus 2000 rupees. Okay, I hope it is understandable. So now what the meaning of, say, why we just encircle this, because we have to just find the figure, figure for the positive or the negative. That's why we just encircle, because now we have to understand, or see, now we have to just find out, like, passbook balance is greater than or more than the cash book. So in this first condition, passbook balance is just more than the cash book balance. So in this condition, passbook balance is more than the cash book balance. So that's why we just add here with the 2000 rupees. And by what amount? That is 2000 rupees. Okay, suppose that here, for example, suppose that if it is written here cash book, so we encircle the cash book. Now I ask to you, to you guys, like, cash book balance is greater than or more than. So in that case, the cash book balance will be lower than the passbook. So we write minus 2000. But in this case, because we encircle the passbook and passbook here, so the question is, passbook balance is greater or passbook balance is less? What thing it is? So the answer, that is passbook balance is greater than the cash book balance. So if it is greater, so we use the plus, and if it is lesser, so we use the minus term. Because it is greater than, so we use the plus 2000. Now just read the another line, that is another condition that is given. Check deposited into bank 3000 that dishonored, but no entry for the dishonor is made in the cash book. Because generally the customer is not aware of the dishonored of the check. So when he just deposited into the bank, so immediately he just maintained 3000 rupees in his cash book. But because it is dishonored, so in the bank statement that is reflecting as a zero. Okay, you also have to understand, whenever you find a term in the this question like deposited, that means if the customer deposited, so deposited, that means a customer deposited in its account. Okay, so if it is deposited, it should be a plus. And if it is issued a check, that means he just give the payment to anybody. Okay, so that means that would be a negative for the for his account. Okay, because in this case, that is he deposited into bank 3000 rupee check. That means he immediately record this transaction with the 3000 rupees. And meanwhile the bank dishonored, so this transaction reflecting as a zero. Now again the same question, that is passbook balance is greater than or more than, or greater than or lesser than the cash book. So the answer, that is passbook balance is lesser than the cash book. So if it is lesser than, that means we use the negative term, negative figure. And by what amount? That is 3000. So just solve this and you will get the answer. So the answer, that would be equal to the 4000 rupees. Okay, so this would be the your answer. Balance as per the passbook, that would be the 4000 rupees. So this is how we solve these kind of the questions. I hope it is now clear for everyone. Another question, that is suppose that Harshit father, that he wishes to have 75,000 rupees in a bank account when his first college expense begin. Okay, how much amount his father should deposit now at 6.5% compounded annually if Amit is to start college in 8 years hence from now? The same thing to understand here. We look here, we Harshit father what want? Harshit father want that this is Harshit father's bank account, and he want that in his account that 75,000 rupees would be available in 8 years from now. Okay, so for that, what should be value he should be deposited into the bank account, so that at 6.5% compounding annually interest in 8 years, this amount would become 75,000 rupees. So, I always recommend you that you always have to understand what is the relationship between the present value and the future value. So we know that that is future value, that is equal to the present value multiplied by the 1 plus r to the power n. Okay, so in this question we have to use this r as the interest rate, and this n is represent the number of the years. Okay, so now because it is compounded annually, so we just assume that n will be equal to the 1. and sorry, if we just understand as a this is a t, this is a t, that is number of the years. Okay, this is a t, number of the years, and when we use the n, that means number of the time interest is compounded annually. Okay, number of the interest is compounded annually. So here we just so for better understanding, we just write here that is 1 plus r to the power t, and this t denotes the number of the years, and this r denotes the rate of the interest. Okay, because it is compounded annually, that means we put n is equal to 1. And what n is number of the times interest is compounded annually. So suppose that here it is written that is 6.5% compounded semi-annually. So semi-annually, that means in 1 year the interest is compounding 2 times. So for that case we will write n is equal to 2, and n is equal to 2, and that should be divided in the rate of interest, and 2 multiplied into the time period of the years. Okay, but here it is compounded annually, so we just simply write here that is f future value, that is equal to present value, and multiplied by the 1 plus r to the power t. Fine. Look here, now if I say that is present value is equal to future value and 1 plus r to the power t, so this is to the power. Okay, so future value that we want 75,000 rupees, and 1 plus, and R, R, what we understand by the R? This R represent the rate of interest, which is 6.5, just right here, and 6.5%. So that's why we write as like this. And the years, that is 8 years. So just right here. Okay. Now we know that that is 75,000, and it is divided by the 1.065 to the power 8. Okay, now 75,000 is divided by the, now the value already given in the exam, like 1.065 to the power 8, and it will be equal to 1.655. So just write here 1.655, and you have to just find out the answer here. So just tell me the what will be the answer here. Just tell me the answer of this. So the answer that will be the 45,370. Am I right? So the answer that will be 45,370. So that would be your answer. You know, I just explained this question in the terms of the future value and present value. But if I say that how you can just find out this question from the compound interest formula. Look, what we have to just want, that is a is equal to, what we know, that is a is equal to p 1 plus r, which is rate of interest, and it is to the power n multiplied by the t, and it is also just n, which is this. Okay, so I am just talking about this n. This n is the number of the interest is compounding. Okay, number of the time interest is compounding in a year, in a year. Okay, so look, this is compounded annually, that means n is equal to, we keep the n is equal to 1. Fine. So you know, now we have to just, we know that the a value is given, that is 75,000, and we have to calculate the present value, or say present, or say principal, and this will be equal to the 6.5, and it is because n is equal to 1, so just left this, and this will be to the power of the 8. So just write it. The same thing we will get from this formula. So you know, the both are the same formulas. Okay, the only thing you have to understand in the from the accounting perspective, so that you can just solve the questions of the future value and present value too in the exam. Okay, fine. I hope it is now clear for everyone. So that's all for this session. I hope this lecture would be very useful for you. And if you're liking our effort, please do not forget to hit the like video. And if you are not downloaded the Adda 247 application, just download this and subscribe the Officers Adda 247 YouTube channel, so that you can get the notifications of the live sessions, as well as the notifications of the important news that is related to your exam. Okay, so thanks for watching me here, and thanks for joining me here, and like this video, share this video to your friends, and best wishes for your preparation too, and just prepare very well for the examination too. Okay, so thanks for joining me.